Okay, I'm back. All right, that one was even a good one. Welcome to part 2 of my top NintendoCapriSun LPs. Today we'll be discussing the top 10. If you haven't seen part 1 of this video, then that's okay, because I'm basically going to say everything I said in that video in this video again. Because why the fuck do we love Tim? The real question is, why the fuck don't we love Tim, right? What's the fuck? What's your fucking problem? Are you gonna sue me? I don't know. But seriously, like, again, it's just like I talked sort of at length in that video about, like, you know, all the different things he's done. And I didn't even talk about the water hands, you know, the water hands, and just like everything. And I haven't really talked about the vlogs either. It's like, man, could I do a top 10 vlogs? The better question is, can you guess which one is my favorite? Because you probably can. Like, it's not really that hard to do. But it's just, I don't know, man. What do we like about Tim? He's a chill guy. He's super chill, super casual, just fun to hang out with on the internets, right? It's fun to give him the stage and let him run with it, you know. It's fun. I did not plan for this second intro. I didn't do it. Maybe we should just get right into it. So yeah, last time we talked about a bunch of his LPs, like, not just like my number 22 to 11 or whatever I ended up with, but like honorable mentions, which was another 10 LPs. And then within those, it was like, well, I like this game, but it kind of represents the other ones. And guess what? I'm doing more of that today. So just hold your horses, hold them, make sure they don't get away, so you don't have to say goodbye, my horsey, goodbye. Man, I should have just wrote down like a giant list of Tim memes and just quoted them throughout the video. This could have been better. Look, this could have been better, but I didn't plan for this. How do you plan for this? How do you do it? Number 10. All right. Let's get my own personal biases out of the way early. Number 10 is the Final Fantasy VI remaster. It's the reasons here I think are pretty fucking obvious, but it's like, I got a story to tell with this one. This list is about how those Let's Plays have touched me. It's not about how they touched you. Hopefully appropriately, but I'm sure they were. As about me. And this Final Fantasy VI LP was actually like a big deal for me, in more ways than just the LP. So it's like, I don't know that I gotta talk about the LP very much, and I'm probably not going to, but I love it, and it's one of the most memorable ones for me. First of all, it was actually really cool to see Tim remake one of his old LPs. Let me start with that. I actually wanted this before I was in it, because like, he had done Final Fantasy 4 and 10 and 8 and all these other Final Fantasy games. Mystic Quest, that was on my other one, right? I don't remember. It's been a week. So, yeah, it's been that, and you know, I always wanted to see Final Fantasy VI. Everyone talks about it. It's so good. Final Fantasy VI is the best one. Like, you know, Gerard the Completionist, I think, said Final Fantasy VI is his favorite, right? I mean, 7 was like one of them, but 6 was also one of them. But no, a lot of people really love Final Fantasy VI, and I'm like, God, I wish there was a Tim LP of this game so I didn't have to play it. And then someone paid $1,000 on a charity stream to have him redo it. And I think it was it Nine? Or was Nine Dragon Quest? I don't know who it was. They were in the LP if you watched it. I'm sure he says it in episode 1. Like, I don't care about episode 1. I care about episode 6. Do I look like a Phantom Menace kind of guy? Yeah, I do. I am a Phantom Menace kind of guy. Get to the story. Jesus Christ, man. Good Lord, man. But yeah, no. um, I wanted this LP before I was like in it, right? Um, and then it started right after MagFest 2020, which was I was Tim's roommate at the time. Actually, did it start after or before? I don't know. Is it? That just says 3 years ago. I don't know. It started sometime in early 2020, and I get a message from Tim, and he says, "So someone paid to have me redo the Final Fantasy VI LP." Um, Sorry, I'm thinking about things now. Hang on. You know, it's like I can find it verbatim, right? Because Discord lets you search. It's not like our history is that long. Let me look. I bet. I bet. Never mind. It's too old, apparently. Discord can't find it. It is now lost to history. He DM'd me on Discord, I promise, and and said I'm doing a Final Fantasy VI remake LP, and I'm going to name the party after friends. And so I who did he have left? I think he may have had. I think it was Shadow, Cyan. I think like Umaro and the other guy that is a bonus character and Celeste. So I'm like, I don't know anything about Final Fantasy VI. Let me look these people up. And I was tempted to say Cyan, but I was like, I looked up Celeste and I was like, I don't know. That's a little strange. But then I was also like, wait, no one's picked Celeste yet? Is no one picking Celeste? And I was like, shit, dog. Nah, fuck. If you're offering me the hot chick, I'm playing the hot chick. And you know what? That was like the best decision I ever made. I love that character. Um, but even more than that, I was so honored to be a part of this LP in this capacity. That what I did was I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna stream the game blind. And I did. And like, not only was it cool because Tim like showed up to a lot of those streams and helped me out, but like that was sort of my renaissance for streaming. I had kind of quit streaming. This is personal for a bit, so I'm sorry. Um, I kind of quit streaming for a while. I streamed like in 2017, 18 on Tuesday afternoons when I was off. But like I kind of quit after a while. I was like, I'm not into this. I'm not doing it. It's not, no one's coming to it. So whatever. Um, but when I streamed Final Fantasy VI, this weird thing happened, and like people started coming to my streams, and I met some friends that like I'm still streaming today, and it's been 3 years, and I'm still streaming consistently. So it was a big influence in that way too. Like I made friends over Final Fantasy VI, and it was really cool. And there's that big portrait that Junibug drew of all the characters in his LP as their characters in the. I think that sentence is over. Um, but yeah, no, I was just a really cool experience. I think it was a really cool experience as far as like just in LP goes as well, because it did have all these like different people in it and all that. Um, but it was it was a really cool LP, and again, it's close to my heart because it gave me this connection with this amazing character. I had no idea she was like the main character for half the game too, and I was like, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh wow, yeah, pretty interesting that this lady's walking around and her name is Funk. Like, all right, not her genre whatsoever. But super cool character, fantastic memories of this LP, and everything that went alongside it, including me streaming the game and having everybody help me out with it. It was a great time, and I love this LP, and I had to include it in the top 10 somewhere because I am a jerk. All right, number 9. It's To the Moon. Um, this one's actually kind of interesting because I feel like I would have placed it higher, but like going back and watching it, and also like having played the game myself now and seen it a couple of different ways, um, I think that with this LP, I kind of liked the game more than I necessarily like. I liked the game that much. I think it was than I necessarily needed. like Tim to be playing it. But I appreciate the LP because one of the great things about LP, and this is going to be a running trend, is that it introduces you to games that you're interested in or that you might end up loving. Um, to the Moon is one of those Tim LPs that is played fairly straight. It's really weird, like, to see him not do an LP that's like filled with toilet humor because that's kind of what he's known for. And like To the Moon is one of those games where it's like there's minimal of that. It's like it's all the feels. He's very respectful of the material, and like those low key games are always kind of pretty interesting, Um, so like it's always fun to watch him, you know, take a break from that, and especially in this era because this was like kind of classic era Tim. It was like kind of moving away from the classic era, but like, you know, um, and it was just like it was definitely a good choice for him, and I love seeing him play the low key games like this. I actually my number 9 entry actually is To the Moon slash Firewatch because I loved watching him play Firewatch, and like To the Moon and Firewatch are two LPs that I just go back and watch whenever I need something to watch. Jesus, I'm not wearing one. But like, no, I love that style of Tim LP. Because like there is a clearly deep and more thoughtful side of him, and I think that any LP that brings that out is worth its salt, certainly. And I think To the Moon is sort of it was kind of like the first time that it had done that. I mean, I think Shadow of the Colossus was before this, but like To the Moon did it with a game that like not a whole lot of people knew about, and I think at the time, like Tim was still popular enough that he actually helped promote this game quite a bit. I mean, I didn't know about it beforehand, but you know, it really is a great game, and it's a really good fit for someone like Tim. And I love LPs like this. I know Eliza was a modern example, although Eliza got really confusing. I don't know that I ever actually finished that LP, but like, yeah, no, it's a really this remains one of my favorite LPs and one of my favorite playthroughs of To the Moon. Really the only one. Yeah, I really like that one. I really love Firewatch. There's something about the isolation and loneliness of that game where it's like you don't really see other people that like, you know, I think Tim relates to, and I think Tim relates to the character having these weird feelings like he's doing something wrong or like he's not really responding to something emotionally that he should. And I thought that was a very interesting aspect of that game that you know, Tim played pretty well. um, and it's another one that I really like, and that's a more modern LP. Firewatch was like 2017 or something. I don't know, I don't remember, but it's, yeah, that's a really good one too. um, but yeah, To the Moon is a fave. And it's like short, so it's actually pretty easy to watch. And like, you know, not all LPs are like that. It's something that I can watch in a weekend or, you know, over the course of a couple of days, and that's fine. Always fun. My only question is, when's the Finding Paradise LP? I've played it. It's good. It's interesting. Yeah, everybody asking that question. I don't really need to. I don't really feel the need to ask that question. Number 8. That is not Nate. That twisted. What is this, a Resident Evil puzzle? Number 8, but with like a funky fin thing over here. Is Conker's Bad Fur Day? um. So, oh my god, this is like a classic one that we're knocking out like real early here. I feel like this is top 5 in a lot of people's in a lot of people's book, right? Because it is in fact classic Tim, and I think that the Great Mighty Pooh moment might be one of the best moments in LPing history ever, because it's just so like you couldn't build a more perfect scenario than the dude that already talks about the bathroom all the time fighting a boss that is a giant shit and throwing toilet paper at it to defeat it. Like, and like the fact that the Great Mighty Pooh sings, and there's all this weird like shit humor first, and like you flush him down the toilet to win. Like it's too much. It's a mind-blowing combination. It's a match made in heaven. It was perfect. Like it was perfect. I'm shocked looking at this that it only has 310 views. I took this screenshot like last week. So like it only has 310 views. What? This shit should have 3 million views. This shit. This literal this literal shit. So like yeah, no, it's yeah. Conker's Bad Fur Day, obviously a classic. There's more to it than just this. But I think the reason it's number 8 on my list is you know, I think it was Tim's first blind LP actually, and now that's kind of like the thing, and that's kind of like how you do LPs. Why would you play a game you've already played for people? And the cracks of that show, because I don't think like, you know, admittedly, look, I love Tim, but like, not the best first time gamer, unless it's like a puzzle game and he can solve glyphs without finding the key, which I think wasn't it Stardew Valley that he did that in? There's like a glyph in that game and he fucking like solved it. He sat there, it was on a stream, he sat there and solved it, and like everyone was like, what the fuck is this shit? Oh, is there a Wheel of Fortune LP? Because that's number 24. There isn't. Back to Conker's Bad Fur Day. But no, this was a really good starting point for him to do a blind LP. Obviously, it had to be blind because we wouldn't have gotten a beautiful reaction to everything in the game. But like the cracks do show. You know, there's a kind of a world of difference between Tim playing a game he knows well and can crush like the back of his hand, like fucking Contra or some shit, and then it's like you watch him play Conker's Bad Fur Day and it's like, press B on the pad, dude. Press B on the pad. Again, I loved him, but like these moments happen, and I think Conker's Bad Fur Day being his first like sort of blind LP experiment, the cracks do show, and I think that at some points it becomes a little frustrating. I haven't watched Conker's in a little while. Disclaimer, I have not watched a whole lot of these LPs like recently because that's a lot of time. But yeah, I do remember the last time I watched Conker's, I was like, there were some parts of it that just kind of went on, and I was like, wow, this game is a lot longer than I remember. But Conker's is absolutely a wonderful game for Tim to be playing. It's you know, it's like watching him play Banjo-Kazooie, but the humor is on screen as well. You know, it's sort of a reversal because Tim's so good at games like Banjo-Kazooie and Mario and all that stuff that like it's weird to watch him play Conker for the first time and like not completely crush it. So it's a really interesting LP, and as his first blind LP from a time when those things weren't necessarily like a thing, like it's a super interesting piece of history, so to speak. But it is really good. I think the fact that it makes so many movie references that he gets, you know, and you know, he's just, you know, I think he's just interested in it a lot. And then I think he wore thin by the end of the game, but like, I don't know. Wow, this was not a very comprehensive section, or cohesive. Cohesive, that's the word. Number 7. Majora's Mask. Oh shit, all the other screenshots are different for some reason. So Majora's Mask is really here to represent all of the Zeldas, because like you could make an entire list of Tim's Zelda LPs, because I would put $100 on the fact that he's done more than 10 if you count randomizers and stuff. In fact, no, certainly, because he's LP'd like the first all of them. I think he's LP'd literally every Zelda game at this point, right? Except for like the CDIs and the DS games. I'm pretty sure that's right. No, there's definitely more than 10. You can make your own. You could make a top 10 Tim Zelda LPs, but for me, Majora's Mask is kind of the best one. And this is so fucking dumb. But it's like, for me, and I'm embarrassed to say this because there's so much in this LP, and I'm really devaluing it by saying it, but like, look, man, uh, the Clocktown song kind of changed my life. It's so bad, but like literally, here we go, toilet humor. Anytime someone like there's just like oh, it ruined Woolite for me. And like at my old workplace, there was a can of Woolite in the bathroom. So every time I had to take a dump, I would go in there, sit upon the toilet seat, and look at that can of Woolite and go, use some Woolite to get it out. Then pour some bleach when you're finished to eliminate odors. You don't want your bathroom smelling like piss and shit mixed together, because when it happens like that, no one will want to come over to your house and visit you, because the stench, I always fuck this part up, is so very, oh, it stunk so bad I fell through the floor. Oh, and then take a dump on the toilet, flush it when you are finished up. I know that I just said that, but it is still funny. I am almost back now, so I will have to stop singing and change my commentary back to the normal kind. It's fucking over, dude. It's over. Anytime someone talks about the bathroom, or anytime I feel the urge, the squelching of my insides, I'm like, take a dump on the toilet. And like, just look, man, when you watch Tim, like, your bathroom trips are never the same. They're just never the same, man. Sometimes you get the cuck feeling. Sometimes you do not get the cucka feeling, and it's not good. We're talking about Majora's Mask. I mean, there are plenty of other great moments in Tim Zelda's LPs, and a lot of other like memes and shit. I talked about how much I like Skyward Sword and Link Between Worlds, but like, you know, Twilight Princess had I'm sniffing on my balls, and like the Twin Waker, write that fanfic. The Wind Waker had the Green Rupee scream, of course, which I made a video imitating years ago, so you don't need to see it in this one. But like, they're all good. The randomizers I can kind of take and leave. Like, the thing about randomizers is that like they're interesting for like 3 or 4 episodes, and then the rest of the episodes are just like, okay, well, now I have to search everything for that one thing that I missed before I can actually go beat the game. Randomizers would be so much interesting if you could beat the game within like 6 episodes, because you got all the shit, and like, no, there's none of that. It's none of that. And then just like you get into multi millionaire randos and SMZ and fucking like, oh my god, why does this exist? I like the classics. I'll stick to Vanilla Oot, thanks. Strangely enough, Tim was like one of the only people who had a straight up Oot LP for a while there too. But like, yeah, Majora's Mask is one that I was always interested in, because I hadn't seen much of Majora's Mask. I had played through it previously, but like, I don't know, it's not a whole lot, you know, it was good. It was one of the first Majora's Mask LPs, and it was a classic. So like, yeah, I like the Majora's Mask one. The Zeldas are good. Tim and Zelda's a really good combination, because it has like just the right amount of action and comedy and like quiet moments of like, I would sleep here. The joy that the Forest Temple brings Tim is something that I think is just lovely. And I love hearing stories like that. And with Zelda, you goddamn know there's gonna be stories. So, one of my favorites. Number 6, Cloudberry Kingdom. All right, this is a bit of a hot take. This is like one of the hottest takes on here, because you know, this is such a weird pick, but I actually really like this LP. One of the things that I find interesting about it is that Tim did not enjoy making this LP as much as I remember him doing. Because I was rewatching it at one point, and he was like, I don't know that I'm enjoying it. Like, and I think he actually said it on a stream one time that that was like one of his lesser favorite LPs. But when I rewatched it, it's actually really fun. Um, like, I know that maybe he wasn't fond of it and maybe he doesn't really like this game, but like, it's actually really entertaining. This LP just happens to have so many like a lot of cool sort of uh fuck man, like jokes and references and stuff like that. Um Mixed in with like some really interesting gameplay, and it's a really good show of Tim's perseverance, because like sometimes when he does blind LPs he very rightfully cuts shit out, but like one thing that I absolutely admire about him is that like if there's a part in a video game that he can't get past, he will try it a million times before he actually like he gets determined. He doesn't really get angry like ever. It like out of all of Tim's content, it's very rare to see him get angry. I think this LP might be one of the places where it happens, but he still perseveres. I mean, look at this. Look at this shit. It says level 206 up there. Man suffered. Man suffered through this. And I appreciate it because it is one of my favorite LPs from him. It's very entertaining. It's funny. It's like it's you know, it's got some good stories in it. I think it takes place like right kind of during, is it during the Earth Drop days? I don't know. But like it was at a very interesting time. And it just like it's actually a surprisingly bright, vibrant LP. And like I said, it's got some of my favorite jokes in it. This is like one of the origins of dude, dude. And one of my favorite Tim memes that nobody ever fucking talks about is your favorite fluffy white towels, and now it's brown. Your favorite fluffy white towels, and now it's brown. And I think about that every time I see towels. Not every time, but like if they're fluffy or if they're white. Favorite fluffy white towels, and now it's brown. Like that's actually one of my favorite. I don't know why. I think it might be because it like subconsciously there's this Blink 182 song. It's the secret song on Cheshire Cat that kind of has that cadence to it. And that song, we're just about done with your butt. We'll let you know, hey, just about done with your butt. Let you know, hey, your fluffy white towels, and now it's brown. Hey, like wow, I just made that connection just now. We're doing it live. But no, Collaborate Kingdom is one of my favorites. I think I shouted these out in the previous one, but like there's a lot of indie platformer RPs that I really love. LPs, from Tim that I love. Adventures of Pip, Castle in the Darkness, like all those are a really good time. Anytime Tim's playing platformers, it's a really good time. Castle in the Darkness, I think, is probably what Tim would consider to be the better version of this sort of game. And that one's really good too, but like it doesn't have the memes that I like. And Cloudberry Kingdom does, and it's just always pretty interesting, and just like the rhythm of it and this and that. And it's a really good LP. It's one of my personal favorites. Even if some parts for Tim was worse than. Nah, you killed the joke. Damn it! I thought you were gonna have this. Like because I was thinking Joe Biden, but I was like, do you want to start there? You want to fucking start there? I was gonna do a "you're worse than" joke, but we're gonna move on instead. I'm sorry, I failed you. Number 5 is Secret of Evermore. Wow, what a good screenshot I fucking picked. But no, I remember Secret of Evermore being one of those games where I was like, I've never played this. What do I care? Like but this is another one of those games where it's just like it's like so perfect for Tim that it's hard to discount. It's just got those really easy vibes. Tim knows his way around this game, and it's not a game that I think a whole lot of people really knew. So like this was a great way to experience that game. I think the only thing that holds this LP back is that the game itself is a little bit boring to watch. Its music isn't really all that engaging, and neither is its story necessarily. I tried rewatching this recently, and I think I got like 8 episodes in, and then like something else took over. Like So I don't know. This probably could have been a few entries back. To be honest with you, I don't know why I put it at 5. Um, but I think one of the reasons I did is because it is a really interesting LP. It's Tim very much in his element. And it's super cool to see this game. And the game itself, the concept of it is pretty interesting. I mean, look at how popular isekai anime is nowadays. And like, that's where we're at with this game. Its design is really interesting. You just don't see RPGs that are like this weird mix of modern and fantasy. It's got a gorgeous sort of sprite style to it. It's a really gorgeous looking game. It's just like, and the music is interesting. And Tim talks about the music a lot because he knows a lot about it. But like, it's also really weird. Like, I don't know. It's like a very low key RPG, even though it's kind of an action one. I know it's like a Secret of Mana sort of spin-off thing, and boy, how did I not mention the Secret of Mana LPs? Because I haven't really watched many of the Mana LPs. I don't know why. But yeah, no. I think the other thing about Secret of Evermore that I liked is that, and I know that this is like a weird thing to mention, but like it was a really interesting time in Tim's life too, because this was like, I know like I speculated this during Cloudberry Kingdom, but like this was during the art shop days, and I know that like that arc of Tim's life did not end particularly well, but it was a really interesting concept. Like, and it was really cool to see him like do the perler beads and talk about it and talk about like having a job and having a thing that he liked, you know what I mean? And just have there be like occasionally there's news with that, and like occasionally there's other things, and like I think this is the LP during which that kind of went to hell. But even that was like, I don't know, like there was something interesting about, I don't know, maybe this is kind of morbid or voyeuristic or something. There's kind of interesting, kind of something interesting about seeing that like unfold, and especially during an LP like this where, you know, it was all low key and like, you know, Tim had a lot of room to just kind of talk and whatnot. But it's got a really interesting mix of like his nostalgia for the game and then like things that are going on in the modern day because he was excited to talk about what was going on. And like that part of it, his excitement was really fucking wholesome because like you got the impression that this was a guy who was like in retail all his life. Work always fucking sucked. Work was never on his own terms. The only time it was good was when it was 4 a.m. and he could throw the fucking donuts around the room for a Smashing Pumpkins music video. Or Hooba Stank. Hooba Stank. Hooba Stank. The toilet. But yeah, no. I really do appreciate this LP for that element of it too. And again, it's funny. It's got a couple of Tim sayings in it that I really appreciate. Like, oh, ease my poops. Ease them. Ease my poops. Which, again, I think about on the toilet when my poops are not about to be easy. I'm just like, oh, God, oh, Lord, oh, please, oh, ease my poops, oh, oh. And the other one it has is suks, oh, which is very similar, but like, I don't know. There's something about suks ooh that just like it gives me the cucka feeling in my chest. It's like suks ooh, the new scent from Deodatoire. Ooh, suks ooh, ooh, it'll ease your poops. I don't know. Secret of Evermore is really good, guys. It's a good LP. It's a good one. It's a good LP. But now we must break into the utterly great ones in the top 4. Number 4 being Pokemon Sapphire. All right, I know, kind of another weird pick, but like to be honest, I know we're doing a top 10 list of my favorite Tim LPs. This is one of my favorites. This is like one of my favorite concepts. This is a perfect match. This is great. This is awesome. I like this. This. You're doing the wrong hand again. You're doing the wrong hand again. I try to drink water and it drips down the left side of my face. I'm just gonna rattle off Tim memes as I remember them. So just we're here for it. We're here for it. I actually really love this LP. Watching Tim play Pokemon for the first time and having so little knowledge about it is a goddamn treat. And I'm so glad this LP happened, because a lot of the other Pokemon games he's played off screen, and that is no bueno. None of them would ever be like this one, because this was like he was still trying to figure things out. And just like, I don't know, there's an off the cuff sort of innocence to this LP of like not knowing what he's doing with Pokemon, that just like, it just tickles me. And just the names he comes up with for his Pokemon, like for some reason naming his Mudkip Tom Hanks was hilarious to me, and it still is. Like, nobody does that. Nobody does that. Everybody names their Pokemon after like anime characters and friends, and like, that's great and all, but none of y'all have named your Mudkip Tom Hanks, and I want to know why. It's just, I don't know. There's something really funny about Tim making Pokemon his own. He really like took the game and ran with it in a way that you don't often see, and it's such a joy. Like, they're like, it's always something special when you get to watch someone play like one of your favorite games. Like, one of my favorite LPs I'm rewatching right now is Super Genius's Resident Evil 4, because I love that game. I know that game, and his fucking the way he plays it gives me diarrhea 4 every time, and I fucking love it. Fucking love that shit. And it's like, it's kind of the same thing with Pokemon Sapphire, with Tim watching, like, because we all know Pokemon, we all love Pokemon, and watching Tim play through it for the first time and not knowing what the fuck's going on and being like, yeah, ice should beat fire, and it's like, it's just like, it's fun. And it's like, I get the feeling he was kind of nervous doing it because it was a pretty early blind LP for him. And I felt like there was a lot of pressure to get it right because it's Pokemon, and everybody's going to be in the comments at you. But like, we were all there for him, right? Fucking right. Like, I don't know. I just, it's a really good combination of of everything that Tim brings to the table. There's like Toilet Face. I mean, that's just a fucking hilarious name in general. And watching things evolve and like sort of react, have him name sort of like what the Pokemon look like, and just, God, I need to watch this LP again. It really is gold. I think it's definitely one of Tim's best blind LPs, and one of the best combinations for him, because like, he's really good at RPGs, but Pokemon is pretty unique as an RPG. But it's so entertaining. It's just, I kind of wish I had more to say about it, but I really do. I love this LP, and I was so looking forward to more Pokemon LPs, and alas, we haven't really gotten them. The only other Pokemon he did was, oddly enough, like the remake of this game, which is like, I look like that one dude, that one meme where he's everyone will edit him with the question marks all around him. He's like, oh, while we're here, I guess I can try to do a Terry Silver, right? So you got to be like looking not at the camera, right? So you got to be looking like down over here. Did I get it? You ever just like look in a mirror and try to make faces at yourself? I do it every time. I do it literally every time. It's so fun. Like, it's fun to figure out the things you can do with your face. Hey, so you know what else is fun? Watching Tim's Pokemon Sapphire LP is great. It's great. Great. But now we're in the top 3. Number 3 is Final Fantasy IV. This one was kind of special to me because this was one of the first LPs of Tim's that I watched. And it was so fun. And it's really the one that I think endeared me to him quite a bit, because like, I think the through line of this LPs is like, of this LP in particular, is just that he has a blast with this game. He really has a good time, and you can really tell that he does. And you can really tell that he loves this game. He knows what's coming around every corner. Like when I think about like, you know, that thing that I said at the beginning of the last video of like, you know, Tim's your uncle like in the basement playing video games at a party. It's like this is kind of the LP that I think about, because this was the first LP that I watched of his where I got that feeling where he's just kind of playing one of his favorite games and he's going to show you everything, and he's going to like really enhance the story with his commentary about it. You know, it's Final Fantasy IV is it's like just a beautiful little LP to me. And of course, I'm endeared to it because it's really the LP that got me into LPing. It's like this was running at the same time as I think another one of Tim's LPs, but like with Chugga, it was Luigi's Mansion and Pikmin 2, which were my first LPs with him. But like this one really endeared me to Tim, and the reason is so fucking stupid. I rewatched this LP somewhat recently, and one of my favorite things to do was scroll down and see which cringy comment I made on the video that day, and like some of them were so stupid, and it was like I think one of my earliest comments on Tim's videos was dude, I love how much this guy quotes Star Wars, it's hilarious. And it's like, what are you talking about, boy? A guy quoting Star Wars isn't hilarious. Everybody quotes fucking Star Wars. But that's the thing, in these days they didn't. Like, I didn't really know a whole lot of people who just would like randomly off Star Wars quotes like I did, and it was something that I really connected with. And to this day, it's what I think about when I think about why the fuck are LPs so popular. Like, how stupid of a concept is that you watch somebody else play video games, and even I scoffed at it. But you know what it is? It's like finding someone that you kind of relate with and just being able to just sit with them for a couple of minutes every day and watch a little bit more video game and hear more about their life and hear more about what they do and just relating with someone. Because us gamers, we don't get out much, really, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, you know, that's the thing that endeared me to LPs. It's like you know, because I did find someone who quotes Star Wars and who sings 90s songs and will occasionally, you know, say something about Green Day or whatever, you know, and it's just like, that's it. That's the whole point. You get to connect with someone for a half hour every day, on something that you love and that people in your daily life don't know anything about. Like, I go to work and like, you know, what am I going to talk about with them? Oh, hey, did you 40 somethings hear the latest Kingdom Hearts news? Like, it's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So Final Fantasy IV to me is it's such a wonderful little LP. It will always be my favorite Final Fantasy LP. It's the first Final Fantasy game that I saw the ending of, and that would be the case until like Final Fantasy VI. I think I've only finished I've only finished 2 Final Fantasy games. I own several. I own like 3. I've played 6, 7, 7 remake, Crystal Chronicles, and 15, and Mystic Quest. And I've only finished Mystic Quest and 6 and 7 remake. And it's like, so the fact that this was just so fun. It's just like he takes you along for the ride. And it's a really good way to experience this game. And like, looking back on it, it's like nowadays I'm so scared of spoilers, and I'm so scared of like, man, I don't know if I want to watch this LP because I want to play that game. But fuck that shit. Final Fantasy IV was good, and you're in trusted hands with Tim telling the story. And I think this LP alone makes the case for like LPs that aren't blind, because this LP is just so fun. It's so fun to like watch Tim do this pseudo walkthrough of a game, you know, but it isn't a walkthrough. It's just chilling, and it's just chilling with a guy that happens to know all the secrets. Like, I don't know. This LP's so fucking good, man. I love it so much. Definitely one of the things that got me into LPing and into this whole fucking mess. It's not even really that memey or like funny. I think it's definitely one of those weird LPs that like didn't fit into Tim's like general humor style either. So that's a cool thing. I don't know. I really love the Final Fantasy IV LP. It's so good. I've never played this game, but I still love it because Tim played it. And it's just watching him do the streams on Fridays when he was doing the Final Fantasy IV version on DS. Um, it was fun. It brought back a lot of memories of me like sitting in college and between classes pulling out my laptop and watching the latest LPs. So fun times. All right, number two. We gotta talk about it. It's Plants vs Zombies. So this was actually like, I think technically the first LPs of Tim's that I watched, but I think it went side by side with Final Fantasy IV and a couple other things because Tim used to do that shit because he was a fucking madman. But like, I know it's not like a surprise to see PVZ, and I feel kind of bad putting this up so high because, like, of course, but there's a reason this LP is so good. Like, it's not just because the algorithm caught on and like funneled millions of people to this fucking LP. Um, you know, it's just also a really good time. It's a really good match for Tim's humor and his pacing because the game is pretty casually paced. So it's not like we're out here struggling all the time. But much like Final Fantasy IV, I think a lot of Tim's best LPs have him just having so much fun playing the game. And he has a blast with this game. And you know how I know? Because he made like 45 parts of it. He played this game front to back and then some. And then made some survival videos. And then made a video about growing the fucking tree and buying it and like digging to China. And it's like, it's a classic. It's a classic, and it is for a reason. It's the one that people like come back to and are like, oh man, I watched your PVZ LP when I was 12 and now I'm like in college and have a baby and all that shit. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, it's just a great LP. It shows off Tim's range. It's got his classic humor in it. It's got some interesting thoughts in it, as if I recall correctly. But like, I don't know. It's so classic that it's hard not to put it on there. But like, man, I tell you, boy, I tell you, I say that all the time. Can we just talk? I always say that, and I'm like, that's not me saying that. And it's like, oh, Tim's where that comes from. But like, yeah, I don't know. The all singing episode is goddamn classic. Although it's so funny looking back on it because like, apparently Laura Shigihara discovered the LP and then he was embarrassed to be singing dump lyrics to her music, which was just like for some reason that's really wholesome to me. Clearly she did not mind. But like, I don't know. It's just, I wish I had more to say about it, but it is kind of perfect. It's kind of a perfect LP. I'm gonna torture you by making you watch me drink water. God, I tell you, I can't imagine what it would be like watching Poltergust do one of these. He could probably do the entire thing just quoting Tim and not using any original statements at all, which I'm saying is impressive. So, but yeah, no, Plants vs Zombies is absolutely classic. It's perfect pace for Tim. It's got the right amount of humor within the game itself, and plenty of downtime for him to just talk about like the most random off the wall shit. Um, it's like, it's no wonder why this was one of his more popular LPs, even without all the weird numbers boosts and all that stuff. It's just so good. And the game is really good, and the game is honestly kind of fun to watch. It's like ASMR. It's like, I don't know, it just falls right in that little niche where Tim does his best work. And it still stands out amongst games that he's played. Like, I think he's tried to play games like this later. PvZ2. But like, I don't know. None of them just work out as well as this one. It's just like, it's right there. I kiss you. And my favorite of Tim's LPs, and no one can tell me different, it's Willow. Willow is my favorite of Tim's LPs. Like, PVZ is perfect, but Willow is just like, So I remember first watching Willow, like, I wasn't feeling very well at the time. I was like having some pretty pervasive stomach issues. Appropriate, but like, I don't know. This LP is Zen incarnate. And it's just like, I feel like it's Tim at his very best. He's playing an obscure RPG that no one knows any fucking thing about. Um, but like, of course he knows it like the back of his hand. He will tell you everything about it. He will tell you the glitches about it, and you know this shit ain't on the internet because no one was playing this game when the internet happened. This game was long forgotten by pretty much everyone, except for Tim and a couple of other people. Um, by the time the internet started happening, so you know he learned all this shit on his own by pouring hours and hours into this game, and it's just like you can tell that he loves this game. It's another game where you can just tell that Tim is having a blast. He loves the material, he loves the movie, he loves the game, and it's just like it's so. This is the coziest LP of all time. I don't know if that's true, but it's pretty fucking cozy. Um, I love this LP so much. Like it comforted me in a time when I needed it. It was always nice to sit there and watch it. And it's just like this game is utterly fascinating because it just like it doesn't look like anything else on the NES. It's like this weird sort of action RPG which you didn't see a whole lot of. The game looks actually really good for being on the NES. Like the art direction is really solid. The gameplay is interesting. It blows my mind that they were able to do something like the speed of sword swings on an NES. Like that's so it's so crazy to me. Um, but like, oh, I don't know. This game, like the game, is really interesting and surprisingly good for a licensed title. And uh, Tim is just so good at playing it and presenting it and really, I mean, selling it and just making you enjoy it. And it just makes me want to cozy up and sit down and watch it. And you know what? It's not 100 fucking parts long. You can knock this shit out in like 2 nights if you really want to. It's a beautiful LP. I've always said that. Like this question, what's your favorite Tim LP, comes up a lot in his streams, and I will unequivocally every single time type Willow because I love this Let's Play. It like I don't know if a whole lot of people remember this one or whatever, but it's my favorite of his. I think it's like there's funny parts to it. There's him making fun of the movie, but there's also just a lot of love. There's a ton of love in this LP. And it's just something you don't always get. And it's just like, well, I think what makes this LP super special is that only Tim could do this LP. Anybody could fucking do an LP about PvZ or Final Fantasy and have good stories and lots of things to tell you about it, or Zelda or any of those games. Like anybody can tell you anything. Um, anybody can do any of that. I feel like only Tim could have done this LP. And there's a couple LPs like that, like Smart Ball. Like nobody's LPing Smart Ball. But Willow to me just felt really heartfelt. I think it was a really good marriage of narrative and he even tries trivia during it, talking very it's so there's something really wholesome and entertaining and just cute about Tim suddenly rattling off a bio of Warwick Davis. Um, but like it was really cool. It was like him trying something new while still doing something old, and it was just I don't know. This is a really lovely little LP. It's so cozy. It's just I know I've said that. I can't really put it into words. It's just this one is my favorite. This is my number one. It can't be your number one. I've already claimed it. You can't have it. You can't have it. I'm gonna keep it all to myself. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it. It's not yours anymore. So that's my top 10 Tim LPs. Give me your top 10 below and do a way better job of this than I did. Or if you want to make them into a video, do a way better job of this than I did because that should be pretty easy because I'm bad at this. um, but like yeah, no, I really wanted to do this. I've been wanting to do this forever because like it's a fun thing. Like no one does top 10 LPs. No one does that shit, but guess what? I do. Again, LPs are really hard to rate because like how do you make them really different? Um, but like I don't know. I think the big thing about LPs is sort of the story and where you were in your life when you watched them, you know. And I think the one that's always going to be the most special to you was, you know, is it speaks to you because it was there when you needed a friend or something, or it just, I don't know. But like, nah, Tim's LPs are some of the coziest out there. They're fun, they're funny, they're heartfelt. And I think that's the big thing. I think Tim's key element that he brings to the table is a genuineness and a heartfelt sort of tone that other LPs I think have, and have elements of, but like, it's dude is just so genuine. Dude just loves video games. Dude isn't really doing it for the views, and if he is, he'll tell you about his struggle. Like, dude he's so personal, and it's just, and knowing the guy personally, it's like LPs are very special because it's his time where he gets to just, where he gets to be more than himself, I think, for a little bit. And that's something that's really cool. Like, I don't know that there really is, like Tim as he appears in his LPs is not really always how Tim is in real life. He's like surprisingly quiet when you actually meet him. Like, you would expect him to be able to talk all the time because he does in LPs, but like, and he'll start talking like Corn Shack, and you expect him to start talking like Corn Shack, and then he doesn't talk like Corn Shack, but you really think he wouldn't. If you asked him to, he probably would, but then he doesn't really have to, so he doesn't do it a whole lot, and he could probably do it for a couple of seconds, then he would stop doing it, and then he would run out of breath, and then he would be, I hate talking until my end of my breath. I hate when I do that. That's not the quote. But like, so I don't know. LPs are this special thing, where it's just like he kind of just gets to talk, and that's like, if you know him, that's super cool. Because again, he's not really like that in real life. Um, I don't know. It's cool to get to see someone do something they wouldn't otherwise do, though. And I can't imagine how liberating these LPs were for him, and how good it must have felt to be on the opposite side of that. Because I get the impression that Tim was, you know, I get the feeling that he really enjoys having an audience of people that enjoys the things that he enjoys. Um, you know, I know what it's like to be stuck in those sorts of like retail jobs where no one knows what the fuck you're talking about when you have such passion for things that you want to talk about. So I don't know. I look at it as LPs and I see that, and it's a special kind of awesome that he brings to the table. Um, so yeah, this has gone on way fucking long enough. Uh, there's really nothing else I can do but leave you with a picture of Dave Grohl on the toilet.